all the events are getting canceled, bookings are canceled.
And here's what I want for you to do. Podcast, we're in season 8. The stats that I want to share. So there was a couple of recent surveys done, but the one that stood out for me was Fuel Travel did one, and they surveyed round about, I think the average in the end was about 15,000 travelers and guests. What was really interesting to me was a lot of the numbers that were coming back. The stats that really were surprising for me, and I've got them written down on a piece of paper here. The first one is that out of nearly 15,000 people that were surveyed, only 3% of them, 3% said that they would not be traveling in 2020. Obviously, we as hospitality owners, you watching this live or on the replay, you have been affected by COVID-19 for your hospitality business. 97% said that they would be, okay? And I think the other important thing about this survey as well is that 75% of those same people said that they right now were wanting to book, but they were just sat on the fence. They were waiting for either lockdown to be reduced so that they are allowed to travel and go and stay again, or that they were waiting to see what the accommodation themselves were going to be offering. This again is playing a big part. 75% of people that are sat on the fence, they are waiting to see what happens. What I noticed today, I was walking around our property, walking around the farm here, and I spotted one of these. Now, hands up if you have got one of these in your property, in your B&B, in your hotel. Have you got one of these just laying around? Now, the reason why they do this is marketing on their front. They send it to you because they want you to put this up on your wall. They want you to show it off. They want you to have this in their eye line because it says at the top booking.com. It makes you feel good because you get that decent award, that decent number, that decent thing, so you can show it off. And again, I'm going to take an example that I saw a friend of mine, good friend of mine, Steve Kapandi from the Book Direct Symposium. He did this at the event when I was there in Greece, in Athens with him, and it was really powerful. And I think today, more than ever, if you've got one of these on your wall, if you've got one of these that is in your property, if you've got this on your website, if you show off about this, then here's what I want for you to do. Rip it up and throw it away. Because if they're going to treat us like that, why should we actively promote them in our properties?
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so my name's Janet, and these days when people ask me what I do, I generally say I help people to build online audiences. So that means more followers, it means more fans, more subscribers, because if we have all of that, then we can make more money, we can make more sales in our business.
What would be the one piece of advice that you wish that you had received before you made that pivot, that initial pivot, that sort of jump from going from one to the other, from one sort of career to the other role?
I don't think I did anything wrong, as it were. I don't look back and think, oh, I did that wrong. But there was a piece of advice that was given to me actually when I left teaching and went into journalism, because I was freelance. I've always been self-employed the whole time. I've always had to run my own business, my own customers, whatever. And it was look for work while you're busy. So when I was a journalist, I always had my eye on all the time.
Wherever you are in the world, and however you've been doing your marketing, whether you've been, again, heavily reliant on third parties or you've been actively looking to get your own bookings right now, then there's definitely a lot of things that you can be doing to be proactive on this. So number one, what you can do is, if you are active on Facebook, and particularly Facebook ads, one of the cool features of Facebook advertising is that you can set a ad radius. Now, what does that mean in simple terms? Is that you can go onto Facebook and they give you a map, and you can draw a big circle of 200-mile radius or a 100-mile radius or a 50-mile radius around your property. Let me just bring in today's guest, Mariah from Smiling House. Mariah, how are we doing? Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
What is your opinions on how Airbnb, Booking.com, and the likes have acted during COVID, the basically this pandemic? Do you think they've done enough to look after hosts, or could they have done more?
People that just been, facing, cancellation one way from Airbnb coming at once. One of our partners in Italy telling us a story how he lost 70K worth of bookings in one day. And people find themselves completely lost in a partnership that's supposed to be between the OTAs and the property managers, and they felt that this kind of partnership is not a real partnership. Instead of being a real partner that you discuss with, that you're asking, at least in a survey, they could have done to take some property managers and homeowners from around the world and from different segments and ask them how would they like to deal with the situation.
So if you could just start off by giving us a little bit of an insight at where you are right now with America and the corona crisis.
The US, we're behind what everybody else is going through. Like in the UK, we saw everything that was happening, and there wasn't, we kind of saw it almost like at a distance, like, oh, that's, it kind of sucks to be them, but it's not happening to us yet. And then in the span of like a couple of days, quite honestly, it was like in 1 week it really hit hard, where all reservations were completely wiped off of our calendars, and there wasn't much to prepare. And then with the drama that's been happening with Airbnb, basically not giving hosts the option to be able to cancel their reservations, not giving the choice. So for managing for other people, we didn't have the luxury of the ability to be able to say, hey, this guest wants to cancel, should we refund them or give a partial refund? Airbnb just kind of stripped that away from us. So each state is handling it differently, but across the board, all the events are getting canceled. Bookings are canceled. Airbnb is even deeming some locations as unsafe and not allowing guests to be able to book in certain locations.
Could you please, just in simplistic terms, just explain what Hubster is and how it could benefit the vacation rental world?
The problem here is that people from Sydney wouldn't come to Italy or to Spain or to London to meet people that matter in the vacation rental industry because they are far away from everything. A good idea would be to bring events or meetings to these people. So we thought, what about designing a product, a platform, something that can bring together people from all over the world, people that matter in vacation rental industry, and put them together in a sort of community where they can, share information, share content, even share, courses, webinars, events on a unique platform, and we call it Hubster. Basically, that's it. It is like, a way to put together a lot of, knowledge, info from the industry, best practices, and anything related to vacation rental, even opportunities, job opportunities, and things like this in one community.
As always, my only ask for me doing all of this every single night is just you do one thing, and then you just share it into one Facebook group. Just try and get people to realize that they don't have to rely on Airbnb for booking. They don't have to rely on Booking.com